behalf of Association for Veterinary Dermatology India and Intas Animal Health, we welcome all the veterinarians for this wonderful dermatology webinar. I personally convey my wishes for all the veterinarians in this World Veterinary Day. Very happy day. We have a lot of issues in large animal dermatology. So in that, dermatophytes are the very important one. So we thought we'll bring one good speaker in this line, and then we want to share that program. So for that, our expert, Dr. Meera, who has come for the explaining about how it is happening and how to manage it, everything she will be informing you about it. And I request Dr. Nitin Bhatia to introduce her before webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll just have a small video and then we'll start, sir, on the eve of World Veterinary Day.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. On the occasion of World Veterinary Day, we wish all the veterinarians a happy World Veterinary Day, which was yesterday. But since we are meeting today, we are wishing you from the entire group of AVD and INTAS. We have with us Dr. Meera Sakare. Dr. Meera Sakare is an assistant professor working in College of Veterinary Science, Department of Veterinary Medicine, Parvani. We understood that World Veterinary Day is an aspect when we should have most of you as an audience. So we choose the topic of large animal. A large animal, we understand that dermatophytosis is a very prominent condition. So we have with us Dr. Meera Sakare, who is going to speak on the topic. So she has a vast experience. She is one of the renowned lady vets known across the Maharashtra, especially for the large animal area. So over to Dr. Meera Sakare for her presentation and insight into diagnosis and management of dermatophytosis. Ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Good evening to all veterinarians across the India. So today I am going to present on diagnosis and therapeutic management of bovine dermatophytosis. So first I wish to all veterinarians happy World Veterinary Day. So the veterinarians across the India are working very hard during this COVID-19 pandemic situation also. First, I am thankful to Dr. Nagarajan sir, founder and president for this Association for Veterinary Dermatology of India, who has given opportunity to present here on the topic on this bovine dermatophytosis. And Dr. Nitin Bhatia sir, who is the active known veterinarian from the pharmaceutical company, who is actively engaged in different webinars and training programs throughout the India. And Dr. Amanjot Singh sir from Intas Pharma, entire team of Intas, and one and all, I welcome to all of you for this presentation. So today I am going to present on diagnosis and therapeutic management of bovine dermatophytosis. So as far as large animal is concerned, we are neglected whatever the skin affections are there. But in case of small animal, we are more concerned to the treatment and follow-up of the skin affections. And also these pet owners, they are very much aware regarding the diagnosis and perfect treatment. But in case of large animal, somewhat neglected appearance it is there. So the skin, it is the most important and visible organ of the animal's body, and depending on the age of animal and different species, it is having 12 to 24% of the total body weight. So in case of large animal, we can see different kind of dermatological affections like bacterial, fungal, parasitic, some nutritional related disorders are there. So among that, we choose this topic, bovine dermatophytosis. So any skin affection in case of animal, it will causes decrease in the body weight of the animal, because animals, they are spending more time in the itching, and due to the itching, they cannot concentrate on the feeding and watering. That's why there is a decrease in the body weight of the animal we can found in any skin diseases. Then also there is a decrease in the milk production. In case of the lactating animal, milk production, definitely there is a reduction we can found. While in case of working animal, working performance of the bullock, it has been reduced one. And overall, the skin, it represents the general health status of the animal. And whenever we are our animal owner, they are purchasing or they are selling their animal in the market. So at that time, due to the skin affection, market value of the such animal, it has been reduced one. So overall, there is a economic losses to the skin affection in case of large animal we are found. So today we are discussing with the bovine dermatophytosis. So dermatophytosis, it is one of the important fungal infection in case of large animal. Commonly it is known as ringworm. In this disease, we are found the circular or ring-like lesions in the affected animal. So it is called as ringworm. Second, tinea. So tinea, it is the group of diseases which is caused by the fungi. So any fungal diseases which is caused, it is called as a tinea. So dermatophytosis we can define as a superficial infection of the keratinized tissue which are mainly affecting hair, claw and nail of the susceptible animal. So this is the disease which will affect a wide variety of animals. So in case of cattle, buffalo, small ruminants, sheep and goat, even in pet animal, dog and cat, laboratory animal, rabbit, guinea pig, and even the wild animal like deer, monkey, they are facing a lot of problem of this fungi. It is a highly contagious disease. One of the contagious disease, fungal disease in case of large animal. So also it is having zoonotic importance. So whatever the affected cases are there, from affected cases, it can transmit infection into the human being. So dermatophytosis, it is mainly caused by this organism, that is Trichophyton verrucosum. In case of large animal, near about 90% cases, they are due to this Trichophyton verrucosum species. Less commonly, Trichophyton mentagrophytes or Microsporum gypsea. It causes the infection. So here we can see the rough structure of the skin. Skin, it is having three layers. Epidermis, it is the first layer, middle layer dermis, and innermost layer, it is the subcutaneous layer. So this dermatophytosis, it is the infection of the epidermis, that is the superficial layer of the skin in which keratinocytes, these cells are affected one. These are the melanocytes. So some of the nutritional deficiency diseases, melanocytes, they are also affected. So here we can see these are the keratinocytes. They are present in the epidermis. So this is the structure of epidermis, which is having 4 layers: stratum corneum, stratum granulosum, stratum spinosum, and lowermost it is the stratum basale. So according to the natural or primary reservoir, this fungi it classified into the 3 main categories. First is the zoophilic, anthropophilic, and zoophilic. So name itself indicated it related to the animal. So these zoophilic type of fungi, they are only affecting in case of the animal. Sometimes from the animal, human being, they are also got infection. That's why this disease it is having the zoonotic importance. Then second one is the anthropophilic fungi. So this type of fungi, they are exclusively affecting in between the humans. So human to human transmission it will occur by the direct way or due to the indirect contact. Then third is the zoophilic fungi. It related to the or this type of fungi, they are exclusively grown into the soil as well as in the decomposed material. And this zoophilic fungi, sometimes it can cause fungal infection in case of the human being also. So this dermatophyte, they are having main 3 species: Trichophyton, Microsporum, and Epidermophyton. So this dermatophyte, they are the gram-positive organism. They are the strict aerobic. They required oxygen for their survival. They are the non-motile and filamentous fungi on the culture or after the staining. So these are Trichophyton after lactophenol cotton blue stain. So whenever we go for the culture of this fungi, so after cultural examination, whenever we are taking some culture material and we go for the lactophenol cotton blue stain, so on the basis of morphology, we can see Trichophytons, they are having the cylindrical appearance, which is the major cause of dermatophytosis in case of ruminants. Then second is the Microsporum. They are having the morphology like spindle shape, elongated spindle shape. And this type of fungi, it mainly causes this ringworm or fungal infection in case of dog and cat. Then third is the Epidermophyton. They are having the chain-like appearance or club-shaped organism. So transmission. So this dermatophyte, it is transmitted measured by direct contact and indirect contact. So in direct contact, infected animal, they are transmitting the infection to the susceptible or healthy animal. In indirect contact, so these whatever the feeding and watering materials are there. So from that watering material or inanimate object, this fungi it can be transmitted. So most of the time in case of small animal or large animal, whatever the grooming brushes we are using, so through the common grooming brushes material, these fungi it can also transmit the disease. These are ringworm, it is a sporadic type of disease. So single case we found, but sometimes there is a epidemic or more number of animal it can be affected at one time. So here in this picture you can see more number they are affected. So for the occurrence of the disease, there are some predisposing factors are there. They are mainly divided into 2, host and environmental one. So in this age of animal, it is most important. So this disease, it is common in the young as well as in the adult animal or older animal, because these animals, they are having the less immunity, and due to the immunosuppression, there is a growth of fungi we can see. Then long hair, matted hairs. So this condition of hair, it will favors the multiplication of this fungi. Then in environmental causes, humidity, it play a very important role. So prevalence of this fungi, there is a varied type of prevalence we can see. So from 2 to 30%. And this variation in the prevalence, it is depends on the geographical location and then population density or number of animal which are present in a particular herd, or sometimes due to the temperature of the environment and humidity. So on the basis of these factors, prevalence, it can be varied one. So we'll see the pathogenesis. So when these fungi, they are transmitting directly from the animal or from the indirect contact. So at that time, this fungal arthrospore, which is known as hyphae. So this hyphae is nothing but the thread-like arthrospores which are isolated from the fungi. So these hyphae, they are invaded into the stratum corneum layer. So this stratum corneum, it is the uppermost layer of the epidermis and in the hair fiber or in the hair shaft. So this hyphae, they are invaded into the stratum corneum and hair fiber. So when this hyphae, they are invading this layer, so at that time, it produces some metabolic substances or toxins, and due to that toxins there is a cutaneous inflammatory reaction we can found, and that reaction it leads to the circular or ring-like structure. And these fungi, when they are invading a particular body, so at that time they multiply peripherally because they require oxygen for their survival, and under the crust and lesion it cannot survive. So there is a centripetal type of peripheral type of this centrifugal peripheral, you can see the lesions. So due to that we can see this circular type of lesion. So clinical signs, variable type of clinical signs we can observe at field level. So first it is the localized or generalized one. So in localized single lesion we can observe, or mainly the generalized type, overall body or face or foreleg of the animal it can be affected one. So in this photo we can see this calf, it is suffering with the ringworm and which is having periocular alopecia. So in this there is a non-pruritic alopecia around the eyeball we can see, and these lesions they are having the asbestos type or whitish thick type of crusty lesions we can found. So these dermatophyte lesions, they are mainly present on the head region, neck region, shoulder, back, or entire body it can be affected one. So most of the time a pustular type of lesion we are also found. So in this picture you can see presence of crust and pustules on the neck area, shoulder, and on the ear pinna of the animal. So sometimes these round allopathic patches, it can be observed on the hump region or dorsal abdomen of the animal. Sometimes multifocal alopecia we can see on the head region and neck region. So in dermatophytosis, generally pruritus or itching, it is absent one. But once there is a secondary bacterial invasion, it is there. So at that time, animals, they are having severe type of itching. So many times we have heard this word, that is ringworm. So ringworm, it is the name given due to the presence of circular lesion due to this dermatophyte of particularly fungi. So in this picture you can see this red Kandari calf which is having the age of 8 to 10 months old, and they are suffering with this fungal infection in which there is a diffuse type of allopathic lesions, circular lesions we found. So here neck region, shoulder, this dorsal aspect of the abdomen, all these are affected. Even though this is a head region of the animal, they are also affected one. And in this there is a hyperpigmentation. There is a thickening of the skin we can found in case of the dermatophytosis. So sometimes or in at field condition, most of the time we see the lesions on the forehead. So always in dermatophytosis, lesions they started from the forehead and it is spread towards the lateral side of the abdomen or towards the posterior side. So from the head you can see there is a hump region it is affected, and towards the dorsal aspect of the abdomen. So here also lesions they are present on the forehead, on the dorsal aspect of the abdomen, and on the hump region, and towards the posterior aspect of the abdomen. So mostly the dorsal part of the bullock they are mostly affected one. So here we can see there is a folliculitis in both cases, and there is a crusty erythematous lesion we can found, and here hyperpigmentation or discoloration of the skin we can found. So most of the time at field condition, such animals when they are affected with the fungi, so at that time they are rubbing these lesions towards the hard objects. So they are rubbing to the tree or to the wall of the shade also. So most of the time outbreak of this dermatophytosis it can also occur because whatever the indoor small animals are there, due to the high humidity and temperature, this fungi they start to proliferate very rapidly. So at that time we can see more number of animals they are affected at one time. So in this you can see asbestos like lesions they are present on the forehead of the animal in multiple calf. So at one time, more number of young animal it can be affected in case of this ringworm. So for the diagnosis, it is very simple one. So first you ask the history. So history in case of any dermatological problem, it is most important one. So at field level, many times we are lack of laboratory examination. So at that time, we should depend only on the history and physical examination. So history and physical examination, these are the two only important clues at the field level for the perfect diagnosis. So for this, first we can go for the screening test. So with the help of direct microscopic examination, Wood's lamp, and for the confirmation, cultural examination. So this is a direct or microscopic examination, which is commonly known as stratigraphy. So in this examination, first you have to apply 70% ethyl alcohol on the suspected lesion. So it will kill the whatever the surface bacteria are there. Our surface contaminants are there. It is killed with the help of ethyl alcohol. First, you have to apply ethyl alcohol. Then, with the help of forceps or through the blade or through the BP blade, you can collect the active samples from the periphery of the lesion. So, in dermatophytosis, active lesions, they are more important for the diagnostic purpose, because due to the absence of oxygen at the center of lesions, these fungi, they are dead one, and they are always active at the periphery. So you have to collect sample from the periphery of the skin lesions. So whatever the hair plucking you have taken with the help of this forceps or with the help of this BP blade, you have to treat with the mineral oil or 10% or 20% potassium hydroxide. So commonly this potassium hydroxide, they are important for the visualization of this fungi. So after taking this hair growth or pluck hairs, you have to treat with 20% potassium hydroxide, then put a cover slip and you can see under the microscope. So in microscope, you can found there is a arthroponedia or spores. So here, this is the hair shaft, and at the outer side of hair shaft, you can see small dot-like structure. It is called as the ectothrics presence of this particular fungi. So these arthrospores, they are present endothrix or ectothrix. When they are present inside the hair shaft, it is called as the endothrix. And when it is present outside the hair shaft, it is called as the presence of ectothrix appearance of these spores. Then this Wood's lamp or light examination. Generally, this method it is used in case of the small animal, in case of the dog and cat. Not useful in the large animal, because in large animal, this Trichophyton species, it causes the ringworm and they does not produce fluorescence in case of the Wood's lamp examination. Only it is useful for the Microsporum canis, this type of fungi. Then for confirmative diagnosis, so most of the time on the basis of lesion, we cannot diagnose this ringworm. So in that cases, we can go for the laboratory examination for the confirmative diagnosis. So in that cultural examination, there are two type of these methods are there. Sabura dextrosagar, dermatophyte testing media. So both these tests, they are available for the cultural examination of this dermatophyte of ringworm. So after laboratory examination, you can see there is a presence of white puffy-like growth. So after a culture of near about 7 days, you can see a whitish type of growth. It is appear in the Petri plate, and there is a discoloration of the agar. It is there. In the positive cases, due to the presence of this metabolic tryptophan, there is a discoloration of the yellowish, or there is a yellowish red type of discoloration you can found, and there is a presence of filamentous hyphae after the lactophenol cotton blue staining. Then most of the time we cannot differentiate ringworm from the chronic type of skin disease. So in that case, you have to differentiate any cancerous or any neoplastic type of skin affection from the ringworm. You have to go for the histopathological examination. In histopath, you can see there is a folliculitis or presence of fungal spore on the hair follicle of the animal. Then you can see the treatment. So treatment, so in this PPT, I have included the most of the treatments which we can use at the field level. So most of the cases I have treated and that have been included in this PPT. And most of the diseases which are we can easily differentiate from the ringworm. So all these are included in this PPT. So for the treatment purpose, there are 3 types of treatment we can give in case of the ringworm. First is the topical antifungal, the systemic antifungal, and environmental decombination. So all these 3, they are necessary in order to this control this fungal infection. So we'll discuss one by one. First is the topical therapy. So topical therapy, it is the most effective therapy for the control of this ringworm in case of large animal. So for that, first you have to go for the clipping of hair. So generally there is a whatever the crusty lesions are there, you have to remove that crust lesions. So after removing that crust lesions, whatever the topical preparations we are applying, it can get contact with the skin of animal. So there is a contact between topical preparation and skin of animal. It is very important one. So that's why you have to first remove the crust or lesions which are present on the body of animal. So after removing that crust, you don't throw that crust, because that this is a zoonotic disease and it is a highly contagious disease. So whatever the removed crust are there, you have to burn that crust, or there is a proper disposal of that material. It is necessary one. So after removing the lesions, you can apply this povidone iodine, sodium hypochlorite, lime sulfur or chlorhexidine. So all this preparation or any one of the preparations you can apply. So according to the availability of these particular preparations in a particular area, we can apply. But among all these, this povidone iodine, they are commonly used, and this lime sulfur dips, they are also useful for this fungal infection. So these are tincture iodine, 2% tincture iodine, or this Whitefield ointment. So these are specially, it is prepared for the treatment of this ringworm. So this Whitefield ointment, it containing two components. One is the benzoic acid and second is the salicylic acid.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Not able to hear. Yeah, please.
Sir.
Please continue.
It's visible, sir.
Yeah, everything is.
Yeah, please. Go.
It's visible, sir.
Yeah, everything is visible. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Okay. So this Whitefield ointment, it is containing benzoic acid and salicylic acid. It is having antibacterial action, while this salicylic acid, it is keratolytic action. So whatever the growth of fungi it is there, it is prevented with the help of this salicylic acid. And it is containing again one component, that is petroleum jelly. So this petroleum jelly, it will helpful to soften the epidermis layer of the skin. So the most effective treatment, it is benzoic acid and combination of this benzoic and salicylic acid, which is commonly known as Whitefield ointment. So it is available in the market or any medical shop. Then if the animal, they are having a very less type of lesion, particularly on the forehead or on the neck area, so in that case, it is antifungal, that is miconazole or protimazole lotions, we can also apply. So here I want to discuss this case. This calf, red Kandari calf, which is presented with the ring-like lesions with the help of this or positive for this dermatophytosis. So in this case, we have treated with the combination of this currants oil and neem seed oil. So both the combinations, they are given very appreciable type of results. So after a period of 21 days or 3 to 4 weeks, there is a regrowth of hair and disappearance of the lesions we observed in this particular case. So this currants oil, it is nothing but the this plant which is having antibacterial and antifungal and anti-inflammatory activity. And this neem seed oil, it is the known plant which is having antibacterial and antifungal activity. So neem seed oil is containing nimbidine, the active component, which is having very good result in the antifungal, act as an antifungal. So here you can see before treatment there are lesions are there, and after applying the combination of this currants oil and neem seed oil twice a day, you have to apply this combination of these two oil twice a day, and minimum 3-week treatment it is required in any fungal affections, because this fungi they are not readily leave the animal, and it is growth of this fungi, it is for a longer duration on the animal's body. So longer treatment it is necessary in any fungal diseases. So this is the second case. In this you can see this red Kandari calf which is having this raised whitish or grey like this crust like lesions on the forehead of the animal. So in this case we have applied this 5% tincture iodine. So this tincture iodine it is having a strong germicidal action, or it is iodophilic activity, and it is active against the different type of bacteria, viruses, fungi and spores. And 5% tincture iodine it is applied twice a day on the affected area. So before that you have to remove the crust. So after removal of the crust you can apply 5% of this preparation twice a day, and for a period of minimum 3 weeks. 3 to 4 weeks it is required one. And you can see here there is a disappearance of the lesions after a period of 1 month you can observe, and there is a normal hair growth and activities of this calf it is also normal one. Then third is the environmental control. So before environmental control, these systemic antifungal drugs they are also given. But in case of large animal, only this griseofulvin they are recommended, and it is given at the dose rate of 10 milligram per kg body weight orally. And in case of ruminant, due to the high ruminal content and this low absorption of this antifungal drug to the rumen, there is a result they are not good one, and also this drug it is very costly one. Longer treatment or longer duration it is required for the treatment purpose, and considering all these limitations, these parental antifungal drugs they are not much effective in the large animal, while they are effective in the small animal. In small animal, we go both for the topical as well as oral treatment of antifungal drugs. And in addition, this griseofulvin, they are also having side effects. There is a diarrhea, omission, nausea, it can be occurred. And this griseofulvin, they are also teratogenic effect. So in the early pregnancy, they are contraindicated. It can cause any neurological abnormality in the fetus also. So these are considering this all these limitations, this topical antifungal treatment they are recommended in the dermatophytosis. Then we also concentrate on the control of these fungi in the environment of animal, because we are concentrating only the treatment of animal. But what about environment? Because these fungi they are survive for a longer period of time in the environment of animal. So for that purpose, to remove the spore from environment, to prevent the reoccurrence of the disease and to limit the contamination, you have to give the ringworm, they are confusing with the different type of affections, skin affections. So in that mostly we can differentiate it from parasitic skin infections. So in that first you have to consider the mange. Nothing but the group of diseases which is caused due to the mite. Mite it is the ectoparasite. So there are different type of mange: sarcoptic mange, sauroptic mange, demodectic and choreoptic. We will discuss one by one. First is the sarcoptic mange. So it is caused due to this mite, sarcoptic scab. These are the burrowing mite. They are deeply burrowing in the skin layer of the animal. So sarcoptic and demodectic, they are called as the burrowing mite. While this choreoptic and sauroptic mange, they are the non-burrowing mite. They are multiplying superficially. So it is one of the highly contagious disease, sarcoptic mange, and it is transmitted from one to another animal very easily. And lesions, they are mostly found on the head region, neck region, and on the shoulder. Sometimes all over the body it is affected. So here you can see there is a scaly or a wrinkling type of lesions they are affected by. And in the sarcoptic, there is intense pruritus. Itching, it is very severe one. While in case of ringworm, there is a no itching or variable type of itching we can observe. In this calf, you can see there is a erythematous lesions on the lower aspect of the abdomen. Because this mite, they required humidity to multiply. So that's why they are growing on the inner aspect of the thigh region. And this sarcoptic mange, it is a zoonotic type of disease. So whatever the animals which are handled by the veterinarian or any animal owner or any attendant. So in that case, you can see there is a severe itching, it is there. There is a pustular erythematous lesion, especially on the hand of animal. So that's why whenever we are handling such type of sarcoptic mange cases, you have to wear the hand gloves properly, or properly disinfection of the hands. They are also important one. So under microscopic examination, whenever we are taking deep skin scraping examination, this circular type of mite, which is having 0.25 to 0.4 millimeter length, we can found under the microscope. All these are the mites which are found due to the sarcoptic affected mange. So this is another case. So this is the Devni calf, which is having age of 2 to 3 months, and it is severely affected with sarcoptic mange. So in this photograph, you can see there is a distributed or localized or generalized type of skin lesions, and there is a erythema. There is a presence of papules and crust, and these animals, they are very uneasy one. It is not taking any food and water, and growth of this animal, it is also hampered one. So in this case, after confirmative diagnosis, we go for the treatment, this ivermectin at the dose rate of 200 microgram per kg body weight, weekly interval, near about 4 to 6 doses they are necessary. Then antihistaminic, chlorpheniramine maleate, it is given, vitamin A, Intavita, and locally lime sulfur dips or spray. So whenever we are giving topical therapy in case of the mange infection, so once you have to give some antibiotics, or first 2 to 3 doses they are necessary, and once these lesions they are decreased one, so after that only you have to go for the topical treatment. And before that, if we are applying any deltamethrin or any insecticide, so at that time that drugs, it can penetrate into the skin of animal, and there is a whatever the clinical signs, it can be aggravated one. So first you have to suppress the skin lesions with the help of antibiotics or ivermectin. Then after 10 to 15 days, you have to start any spray or any insecticide treatment. So after a dose of 4 doses of this ivermectin, there is a drastic changes in the calf, you can see. So there is an absence of erythema or overgrowth or regrowth of the hairs, and all the activities of this calf, they are normal one. So in this case, we have tried this Neomac, which is containing ivermectin, and this Intavita. Because this supplementation with the vitamin A, it is very essential in any type of the skin diseases. So this Intavita, which is containing vitamin A, D, and E, along with the biotin, which is having very good results. So 2 ml it is given intramuscular. Then the second disease. So it is caused by this Sauroptic ovis mite. So in different animal, this type of disease, it is having different name. In the sheep, it is called as the sheep scab. In the cattle, body mange, because entire body it is affected. In case of goat, periphery of the ears, they are affected one. And this Sauroptic ovis, it is again the non-burrowing mite. They are not deeply penetrating into the skin. Only periphery of the skin, it is affected one. And again, there is an intense pruritus. So, but pruritus as compared to the sarcoptic mange, it is less in case of the sauroptic mange. And there is a presence of papules, crust, excoriation, and lichenification. So here in this photo, you can see this is a generalized type of this sauroptic mange, in which you can see there is a hyperpigmentation, crusty lesions, diffuse type of alopecia, which are covering entire whole body of the animal. And there is intense pruritus you can find. Then third, it is the demodectic mange. So it is known as the follicular mange or red mange. Generally, in case of small animal, it is called as a red mange. But in case of large animal, in demodectic mange, there is a pustular type of lesions we are found, and it is caused by this mite Demodex bovis. These mites, they are normally present on the animal's body, but whenever the immunity of the animal it is suppressed one, so cell-mediated immunity depressed one. So in case of calf, immunity it can be depressed due to the weaning or due to the stress of transportation or overcrowding or undernutrition. So any predisposing factor, it can lead to or start to multiply this Demodex bovis in the skin of animal. and they are mainly invading hair follicle and sebaceous gland of the animal. And in this you can see this calf, it is again suspected or diagnosed with the help of this demodectic mange. So in this pustular or nodular type of lesions, they are observed around the eyes, on the face area, on the neck, shoulder, this dewlap, and also foreleg. So entire this foreleg and head of animal, they are mostly affected. Generally, demodectic mange, it is transmitted from mother to their young one. And at that time, these skin lesions we mostly found on the head and neck region. So in this calf, we have taken this pustular exudate on the glass slide, and just we have put the cover slip. So under that cover slip, we can see the different type of cigar shape or elongated organism we can easily see. So again, we have treated this calf with the help of ivermectin. So ivermectin at the dose of 200 microgram, weekly interval it is given. But in this case, in this calf, there is a pustular type of lesions are there. So for that purpose, we have given additional antibiotic therapy. So antibiotics which containing amoxicillin, cloxacillin combination at the dose rate of 10 milligram per kg body weight for a period of 5 days we have given, because most of the time this streptococci, staphylococci organisms, they are invaded in this pustular form. So antibiotics they are needed one. So with the help of ivermectin, these antibiotics, antihistaminic, we have recovered or treated this case within a period of 1 month time. Then fourth is the choreoptic mange, which is commonly known as leg mange, foot mange, or barn mange. So generally in the indoor animal, indoor dairy cattle, especially in the winter month, we found this choreoptic type of mange. So this mange, it is caused due to this choreoptic bovis. So again, it is a non-burrowing mite, and especially nodules, papules, and crust we see on the tail or on the perineum also. So generally in choreoptic mange, lesions they are restricted on the tail area or on the perineum around the anus or the leg region. So this is the typical characteristic features which we can differentiate from the ringworm or the sarcoptic mange or demodectic mange. Then sometimes this parasitic, this nematode infection. So this filarial nematode, they are some of the filarial nematode, they are also causing the skin lesions. So in that, this stephanophilariasis. So it is a nematode or blood parasite. So it is caused due to this Stephanofilaria stylesi, and intermediate host it is the hornfly, that is Hematobia irritans. So it is not contagious one, but this fly or this intermediate host, it required for the transmission of the disease. So in Stephanofilaria, lesions, they are only restricted to the lower abdomen or ventral abdomen of the animal. So starting from the brisket area up to the navel cord, the thick crusty type of lesions we are found. And in this disease, the dermis layer it is affected, because these parasites, they are deeply burrowing. So epidermis and dermis layer, it is affected one. So it can reach or affected up to the dermis layer of the skin. And in this disease, this treatment, it is only the ivermectin, and control of the fly, it is important one. The next, it is a parafilariasis. So again, it is a blood parasite disease which is caused by the nematode, that is Parafilaria bovicola. And intermediate host, it is a musca flies, Musca domestica. These are the name of the fly. So this parafilaria, it is generally known as bleeding spot or blood spot. So in this disease, when the animals, so it is mostly common in the draught animal or in the working animal. So when these working bullocks, they are in the working area. So at that time, when these bullocks, they are exposed to the dark sunlight. So in the exposure to the dark sunlight, whatever the nodules which are present on the body of animal, it oozes. And from that nodule, there is a exudate, it is come, and there is a matting of hairs or crusty type of lesions you can found. And from that nodules, this parasite, it is coming out. It is nothing but the microfilaria. So microfilaria, it is nothing but the parasitic stage of this Parafilaria bovicola before the maturation. This Parafilaria bovicola, it is the adult stage. But before the adult stage, there is a microfilaria it is called as the L3 stage of the larva. And this L3 stage of larva we can found in the skin scraping examination. So it is called as a bleeding spot. So treatment of this paraphilaria, it is ivermectin on the weekly basis it is given, and fly control it is important one. Then next it is the dermatophylosis. So it is one of the bacterial disease which most of the time it is confused with the help of ringworm or demodectic mange. So these dermatophylosis, it is a zoonotic type of disease, and it is commonly known as mycotic dermatitis, rain rot or rain scald. So name itself indicated. So the whatever the rain during the rainy season. So during rainy season, whenever animals they are having wet body condition due to the prolonged rain or due to the high humidity. So in the high humidity or due to the continuous wet of animal, these bacteria, that is Dermatophilus congolensis, they are start to proliferate on the skin of animal. And various ectoparasites, they are causing penetration or any trauma on the body of animal. They also favors this growth of this bacteria. Generally, this young immunocompressed animal, they are most important. So pruritus, it is variable one. So if the lesions are less one, there is a less itching. And when the more area it is affected, there is a more itching it can be occur. So in this you can see there is a crusty type of pustular lesions on the neck area, on the ear pinna or on the lateral side of the mouth cavity. While in case of ringworm, the lesions they are restricted to the forehead, crusty type of lesions on the forehead, on the dorsal abdomen we can found. So whenever we are taking this crusty lesion and with the help of normal saline, we prepare the blood, the skin scraping material, and we can examine under microscope this bacteria. So this bacteria, it looked like the chain-like appearance. So this railroad-like track-like appearance we can see after the gram staining examination. So in some cases of the dermatophylosis, there is a matting of hairs, it is there. So it is the first stage of the dermatophylosis. So after this stage, we can see pustular or the crusty type of lesions. So in this calf, you can see there is a matting of the hairs all over the body, it is there. And there is a crusty type of lesions, they are observed on the neck area, and some lesions they are on the leg of the animal. So it is a matted hair appearance. It will develop in case of this dermatophylosis infection. So it is a bacterial disease. So for this purpose, we have to go for the topical as well as systemic antibiotics. So in that, this streptopenicillin, it is a good drug of choice for this dermatophylosis at the dose rate of 10,000 international unit per kg body weight for a period of 5 to 7 days. Otherwise, we can give oxytetracycline in the large animal at the dose rate of 5 to 10 milligram per kg body weight. Then this chlorhexidine spray. So this chlorhexidine, it is a having germicidal action, or it is a very good spray which will work against this bacteria, virus and spore. So it can be also applied topically. Then control of insect, it is important because any trauma due to these ticks or lice, it can cause the growth of this bacteria. So insecticide control, it is more important. Then isolation of the clinically affected animal, because it is a zoonotic disease or it is a highly contagious, you have to isolate the affected animal, you have to treat the animal. Then as far as possible, you have to keep the animal dry, because this wet condition, it leads to the favor of this bacteria. Sometimes this zinc level, it should be checked one, because whatever the improper zinc absorption in the stomach, it can also leads to the secondary bacterial infection. And it is a zoonotic one. So whatever the veterinarians or animal owners are there, it should be handled such patient carefully with the help of hand gloves, or after examination or treatment, you have to go for the antibacterial hand wash or soap. Then next it is a viral diseases. So some viral diseases, they are having resemblance with the ringworm. So in this wart or papillomatosis. So it is a viral disease which is caused due to this papomavirus belonging to the papillomaviridae, and it is a this benign type of proliferative skin disease. So in this disease, there are 6 type of viruses are there. Bovine papillomavirus 1 to 6. So all these 6 type, they causes or it produces wart-like region on the different body parts of the animal. So sometimes there is a small nodular lesions you can found on the head and neck region. So mostly in most of the wart cases, eyelid of the animal it is affected one. So here you can see there is a dark brownish black type of pedunculated growth on the eyelid of the animal. Then in some cases, pustular type of lesions all over the body you can affect it. And in some cases, there is a pedunculated front-like lesions are there. So pedunculated front-like lesions we can observe in most of the teeth or any body part of the animal. So whenever we go for the treatment, so treatment of this wart or this papillomatosis, it is most important. So as the age advances, so due to the development of cell-mediated immunity, most of the wart lesions, they are regress one or they disappear. So as age advances, there is a decrease in the incidence of the disease, it is there. But sometimes this benign type of lesions, it is converted into the malignant type. So in that case, we have to take more care. So there are number of treatment options for this wart it is there. So at field level, we can use this lithium antimony thiomalate, which is commonly known as anthiomalin, and dose it is 15 ml. We are given at the after 2 days interval or 48-hour interval. Near about 3 doses are required after a gap of 2 days. Then similarly with the local application of the thuja. So this thuja, it is the name of the plant. So which is helpful to rid of these wart-like lesions. So thuja extract, it is given 1 ml or 10 drop twice in a day orally. Or similarly application with the thuja ointment. So it is applied twice in a day for a period of 1 month period. So near about 3 to 4 weeks treatment, it is required in case of the papillomatosis or this wart. So most of the time there is a regression of lesion cannot occur with the help of anthiomalin or this application of thuja and this ointment. So at that time you have to go for the autogenous vaccine. So autogenous vaccine, so whatever the lesions are there, you have to surgically remove that lesions from the animal's body. You have to triturate with the help of mortar and pestle, and you have to treat with the help of this formalin. And you have to add some antibiotics, then filtrate it, and that vaccine is given at a particular day's interval to that animal. So it is again, it will give the good result. Then atohemotherapy. So this atohemotherapy, it is a very old treatment, but nowadays it is commonly used at the field level and it is having very good result. So this is one case of wart in which you can see there is a small nodular or rice grain like lesions on the base of the udder on the teat. So these cattle, milking cattle, it is there, and whenever the wart lesions there appear on the udder of animal, so at that time it is causes difficulty to the calf. So animal or this calf cannot suck milk properly. And also such lesions, it can cause secondary bacterial infection or there are more chances of mastitis. So in this case, we have given atohemotherapy. So from this animal, you have to remove the 10 ml of blood from the jugular vein and the same blood you have to inject intramuscularly. So you have to repeat this atohemotherapy at the interval of 7 days. So here you can see there is a regression of the lesions after the atohemotherapy you can found. In the last photo, there is a complete regression of this wart we found after this doses of 4 doses. So at weekly interval or after a period of 7 days, they are required one. So principle behind this atohemotherapy, so whenever we are injecting the blood to the animal, so same from the same animal, we are withdraw the blood and same it is injected. So at that time, this blood, it acts as a foreign material to that animal. And due to that foreign material, these macrophages, so macrophages, they are the first line of defense. So it comes at that injection site. So near about only 4% macrophages, they are present in the circulation. But whenever any antigen or any foreign material it is enters into the body of animal, so at that time, their level, it has been enhanced. So in atohemotherapy, whenever we are injecting the blood, so at that time, near about 20 to 22% macrophages, they are circulated in the blood. And due to this cell enhancement of the cell mediated immunity from the reticular endothelial cells, there is a regression of the wart you can found. So it is one of the best method for the treatment of this wart at the field level. Then next it is the bovine herpes mammalitis. So it is again a viral disease which is caused by this bovine herpes virus 2. So in these ulcerative lesions you can found on the T10 border, and when there is a remole or slough of these ulcerative lesions, it leads to the scab formation. So it is a viral disease. So whenever such type of lesion you found, so at that time these systematic antibiotics they are needed. Any broad spectrum antibiotic we can give for a period of 7 days, and in addition this iodophor T disinfectant they are helpful for the this herpes virus, bovine herpes virus 2. Then next it is the lumpy skin disease. So in from 2019 there is a COVID pandemic it has been occurred. So at that same time this our field veterinarians, our this veterinary society, they are facing one viral disease which is spreading throughout the India, that is the lumpy skin disease. So near about 1.5 to 2 years we have faced a lot of cases of this outbreak in the India. So this is a lumpy skin disease, it is first time recorded in the year 1929, and after that over to the 85 years it is spread across all over the countries, and in the India it is first time recorded in the August 2019 from the Odisha state of the India, and in the 2020 it is prevalent in the Maharashtra as well as in the Madhya Pradesh, and nowadays it is called as the rapidly emerging disease which is having highly contagious. So in this variable type of lesion, you can see there is a severe to subclinical type of lesion. You can see mainly there is a high rise of body temperature, enlargement of lymph node, and presence of skin nodules. So skin nodule presence, it is the most important characteristic feature. So all over the body there is a formation of lump. Lump, it is the nodule which can observe 2 to 5 centimeter in the diameter, which can occupy face, neck, muzzle, or any part of the body. And if the animal it is pregnant one, so abortion it can be occur. Then in some cases here you can see lumpy skin disease, the nodular type of lesions we can found, and in this there is a all over body nodular growth, it is occurred one. So here you can see some of the lumpy skin diseases, there is a whatever the lesions are there, they are penetrating throughout the skin of the animal. So in some cases, all layers of the skin it is affected. While in case of ringworm, only epidermis it is affected. But in this, these lesions so there is a nodules on the body of animal. So here you can see there is a edematous swelling on the leg of animal, on the brisket edema on the hand limb of the animal. So here it is a case which is affected with lumpy skin disease before treatment and after treatment. So this is the severe case of lumpy skin disease in which you can see there is a severe type of lesions are there, and after treatment there is a regrowth of hair and also disappearance of the lesions are there. Second is the urticaria. Urticaria, it may be immunological or non-immunological one. There is a sudden onset, it is one. These are the sporadic type disease. Appearance of wheals, especially on the lower abdomen, you can found. And most of the time there is a regression of these wheals, it can be occur. But sometimes we can go for the non-steroidal antimicrobial drug or corticosteroid. They can also give them. Next, it is the some of the nutritional diseases which we can differentiate from the this dermatophytosis. In that, first it is a zinc deficiency. Zinc, it is related to the keratinization process of the skin, and also it is related to the cell-mediated immunity of the animal. So in this calf, we can see there is a parakeratosis. There is a imperfect keratinization of the skin layer. So here you can see crusty type of lesion on the muzzle of the animal. There is a hard crusty scaly lesions we can see. And there is a diffuse type of alopecia we can found in case of the zinc deficiency. So here we go for the estimation of the serum zinc level, in which you can found there is a 84.5 microgram per deciliter of zinc, while normal level it is 163 to 235 microgram per deciliter. So here also crusty type of lesions, they are present on the lower part of the leg and on the coronate region. There is a erythema and crusty type of lesion you can see. So in this we go for the treatment, that is a multivitamin injection, that is a injection min shot. So it containing zinc, copper, magnesium and selenium. So 2 ml injection it is given at a weekly interval for 4 doses are required. So it is a injection it containing zinc 50 milligram per ml, copper it is 15 mg and magnesium 10 and selenium it is a 5 mg per ml. So all these essential components they are present in this injection, that is multivitamin, which is a brand of the Intas Pharma, that is Minshot. So similarly we applied zinc oxide and glycerin ointment. So glycerin ointment it is helpful for the soothing purpose of this epidermis layer of the skin. So here you can appreciate the zinc affected animal. So in this you can see there is a crusty lesions on the muzzle and on the forehead, while it is disappeared after the period of 4 doses of this min shot. So here also dorsal aspect of the abdomen, they are having a thick crusty type of lesions, and after treatment there is a disappearance of the lesions. So here this is a photo before treatment and after a period of 1 month you can see appreciate the type of lesions. Then next is a copper deficiency. Most of the time we are confusion in ringworm or this zinc deficiency and copper deficiency. So in copper deficiency there is a periocular alopecia, it is there, and there is no any raised crusty lesions are there. And in this copper deficiency there is a faded hairs you can see. So this copper it is required for the pigmentation of the melanin, and many factors are there. So this copper deficiency, which is occurred due to the soil or plants which are deficient in the copper, or when the animal they are having more this nitrogen soil which is containing more nitrogen and phosphate. So whatever the fertilizers which are high in nitrogen and phosphate, due to that absorption of copper it is hampered one, and it leads to the secondary type of copper deficiency. So in this copper deficiency there is a faded hair coat. Faded hair coat is the important lesion, and there is a periocular alopecia, and lesions they are not raised. And in addition to the skin lesion, there is a reproductive performance of the animal, they are also hampered one, and diarrhea it can be observed in some cases. In that you can go for the estimation of the serum concentration of the copper, as well as presence of copper in the liver, because liver they act as a major for the storage of the copper. If liver is affected, so definitely there is a copper storage, it can be affected one. Then leukoderma or vitiligo, it is the depigmentation of the skin. So this condition it is mostly found in case of the buffalo. So in this photo you can see there is a patchy depigmentation or grayish whitish skin lesions. They are affecting on the head region, dorsal abdomen, this lateral side of abdomen, brisket or dewlap region, or head region also. In the inner aspect of the thigh region they are also affected one. So leukoderma it is again occur due to the deficiency of copper. And in the treatment you can go for the oral administration of the copper. So copper sulfate at the dose rate of 8 gram. So 8 gram copper it is given through the oral route at the weekly interval, and near about 4 to 6 weeks are required for the treatment or for the recovery purpose. And along with the copper sulfate you have to go for the mineral mixture, because this mineral mixture they are also essential to regain the whatever the micro and major micro and nutrients are there. So there is one condition that is known as urine scald. So most of the time, if the animal they are having the prolonged this tunnel recumbency, so at that time due to the constant wetting with the water, so there is a around the perianum lesion there is a peeling of the skin, it can be occur one. So it is very temporary one. After giving antibiotic therapy, it can be recovered one. Or in calf, you can see there is a continuous, or if we are offering the calf with the milk in the bowl, or in case of the milk repressor, So due to the milk replacer or offering the calf with the milk in the bowl, so at that time, skin lesions you can found around the chin region, around the mouth cavity. So this mucocutaneous junction of the skin, it is affected one. So it is nothing but the milk allergy. It is due to the lactose intolerance in case of the animal, calf, especially in the calf. So in this, these chlorpheniramine and maleate, antibiotic or vitamin A, they are necessary for the treatment purpose. Then last condition, it is photosensitization. So photosensitization, it is a common condition which we can record it many times at the field level. So there are two type of primary and secondary one. So primary, it is directly due to the ingestion of some plants which are having photodynamic agents, and these photodynamic agents, they are accumulated beneath the skin of animal. Under the epidermis, these photodynamic agents, they are accumulated, and when the animals, they are exposed to the bright sunlight, at that time there is a erythema and itching we can found. So in the white or lightly pigmented skin, this photosensitization, it is mostly common one. And a secondary or hepatogenous one, it is called as, or whatever the phylloerythrin. So phylloerythrin, it is excreted through the liver of animal, and when the liver of animal, it is affected one, or there is a liver inefficiency, it will occur. So at that time, this phylloerythrin, it cannot excrete through the body of animal, and at that time, due to the accumulation in the phylloerythrin into the blood of animal, there is a cutaneous lesions you can found. So it may be primary or secondary one. So here in this photo, you can see there is a clear demarcation between the normal skin and the photosensitization affected skin. So whatever the skin which are exposed to the sun, so they are mostly affected. So for example, muzzle of the animal, this lateral or dorsal aspect of the abdomen. So here clear cut demarcation between the healthy and affected skin you can found in case of photosensitization. So sometimes this teeth of the animal, they are also affected one. There is a necrosis and sloughing of the teeth we can observe in case of the secondary type of photosensitization. So here also is muzzle. So muzzle, it is a more prominent site for this photosensitization. So in this plasma phylloerythrin concentration, it can be measured in the laboratory. If it is more than 10 mg, it is a case of photosensitization. But commonly it is not used, and it is a very critical one. And in the treatment, so to immediately remove the animal from the direct sunlight, because animals are most exposed to the sunlight. So at that time, there is a mole allergy type of lesions you can found. And the prevention of ingestion of some toxic material. So whatever the material which is containing photodynamic agent, so you have to remove immediately that plant material. In administration, some purgative or laxative. So liver is the major organ in which phylloerythrin it is there. So whenever we are giving purgatives like magnesium sulfate or liquid parallax, so at that time, whatever the toxic materials are there in the intestine, so it will helpful to remove from the body of animal. And this liver tonic, they are necessary along with some of the antibiotics. So some herbal immunomodulators we can also try along with the specific treatment in case of the skin diseases, because overall immunity of the animal, it is most important for any type of infection. So to this I conclude my topic. You have to treat the animal beyond the clinical cure. So up to the 2 consecutive negative cultures are obtained. So in case of ringworm, until 2 negative cultures are there, so until you have to treat the animal carefully. Then you have to treat the all in contact animal. It is necessary. Decontamination of the environment, it is also needful, and you have to educate the animal owner. Because whenever we are treating the cases of ringworm at the field level, so most of the time these animal owners, they are discontinue the treatment, and again there is a regrowth of fungi. It can be offered, and fungal treatment mostly for a longer period of time, and it is a zoonotic disease. So education to the owner, it is the most essential aspect in case of the fungal infection. These are some references from the books and some articles that I have referred for this preparation of this. thank you all for this webinar.
Thank you, ma'am, for an elaborate insight into dermatophytosis and its comparative differential diagnosis. There are a few questions which emerge. The first question is, how do we differentiate demodicosis from dermatophytosis clinically, and if you can guide on the laboratory?
In case of demodicosis, pustular type of lesions we are observed. So small pustular type of lesions and which are having pus. So whenever we are squeezing that lesion, pus it is there. And small nodular like lesions which are mostly present on the shoulder, foreleg and also head of the animal. While in case of ringworm, thick grayish crusty type of lesion, asbestos like raised lesions we can observe in case of the ringworm, and they are mostly restricted to the forehead of the animal and dorsal aspect of the abdomen. So dorsal aspect of the abdomen they are mostly affected with. And as far as treatment it is concerned, ivermectin it will give good result in case of demodicosis, and while in ringworm you have to go for the topical antifungal preparations.
Right, ma'am. We had talked about auto vaccination. So there's a question from Dr. Ramesh Tiwari. Do we need to wash in formalin treated
Yes.
triturate tissue, or we can use the tissue directly? Because
No,
some few wells are using it directly.
so 1% of formaldehyde it is necessary, sir, to remove the contaminants, bacterial contaminants from that tissue, whatever the recovered sample it is there. So for that purpose, to deactivate the bacteria, treatment with 1% formalin it is required. But sometimes, most of the times, that direct tissues it can be triturated, and with the help of normal saline, it can be also taken. And through the Gottman filter paper, you have to filtrate, and whatever filtrate it is obtained. So in that filtrate, we can add this some antibiotics. So streptomycin or gentamicin, it can be added. So this treatment with antibiotic, it is necessary one in this filtrate.
So either of the two ways you need to do it. So the better way is formalin treated, I suppose. Ma'am, could you throw some light on leukoderma? Is it acquired or congenital? Because there are few people who have observed congenital leukoderma. So is it?
Yes, sir. So there are two types of diseases. Sometimes the congenital, there is a acquired it's there. So congenital occurrence, whatever the prognosis for the treatment, it is very unfavorable one. But whatever the acquired leukoderma are there, so with the help of copper sulfate, we can very well treat it. But there is no clear-cut demarcation to differentiate this acquired or congenital. In the human being, it is a congenital, it is mostly found. But in animal, acquired type of leukoderma, we are most time it is observed.
How can we control fungal infections in a dairy herd or a dairy farm? Any preventive measures which can be taken up in sanitation?
Yes, sir. Bleaching solution is important, sir. Sodium hypochlorite. Sodium hypochlorite or bleaching solution, 1:10 dilution in water. We can disinfect the shade and near about area of the farm.
Right, ma'am. The next remark is, thank you for a nice presentation and very informative one from the entire group. So thank you on behalf of the entire audience for being there, for taking us on a second journey to a bovine disease, that is dermatophytosis. So we thank you on behalf of AVD and INTAS for this journey. Nagraj sir, you want to add something?
Thank you. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. We close the session out here. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Nagaraj, and all the participants. Thank you, Manoj.
Thank you, ma'am.